Hi, Rich Hoffman here. I'm in Monroe, Ohio, and Monroe's a very nice town in Butler County. Middletown's just one exit down that way off 75, which is in front of me. This has been something I've been thinking about for a very long time, and it comes up because politics has changed dramatically, and I think there's a technical revolution that's about to unfold, and I'm talking about Monroe for a very specific reason. When you talk about economic viability, one of the areas that's been most husked out by globalism was Middletown, which is just down there. Monroe, which is one exit south, closer to Cincinnati, has seen some opportunity, but it's been restricted to economic limitations. You can only expand the economy so much under like the Biden administration. And there's some opportunities that have come on the table that I think we need to talk about. And I've had Monroe in my mind for that for a long time. And that's because of Hyperloop. Hyperloop was a concept Elon Musk came up with. It's an underground tunneling system, like high-speed train. If you've ever taken the bullet train from Paris to London, you kind of know a little bit about what that high-speed train is. Well, Hyperloop is much faster than that bullet train, and you can get to Paris from London pretty fast, and it's pretty comfortable. It's great stuff, great technology, but it's pretty old at this point. The high-speed trains. Hyperloop rests on a cushion of air in a vacuum tube, in big giant tunnels, and you can go as fast as an airplane, faster, 700 to 1,000 miles an hour, conceptually. And so you can get from, like, say, the proposal right now is, because Trump's coming back in office and they're talking about it, and Elon Musk is in a position to kind of pitch it, for $20 billion, we're talking about building a tunnel from London to New York. And I know that Trump is very keen on that kind of thing. And I think it'd be a great idea. And that's the kind of stuff you can do with a President Trump in office as opposed to anybody else, because it takes political vision to pull these things off. And so a lot of people were saying, well, what happened to the Hyperloop? Where'd it go? Because it's been under development for over a decade. And again, when Musk proposed it, the Boring Company, which he owns, it does all these advanced tunnels that make it possible to be able to dig underneath the Atlantic Ocean, for instance, to get a tunnel from New York to London. And when you're talking about doing it for $20 billion, that's really not much when you think about how much money we've blown on, like, Ukraine, and how much money gets tossed for every little thing here and there. There's a great opportunity to spend money on Hyperloop while you still recover on the national debt, when you start having an economy that makes money instead of just siphons money, when you're just giving away to legacy programs and entitlements without actually producing any new wealth. What we're talking about under the Trump administration is the potential to have, like, the Eisenhower highway build system, where we build highways all across the nation in relatively short time. And that's why you have the highway system you have today. Because we got behind as a nation, moved it forward, and advanced our economy in dramatic ways nobody ever thought was even possible. So we're talking about now, if you have a fifth mode of transportation, which is what Musk has been talking about Hyperloop being, he has the foundation for it, the Boring Company, to do it. He needs to do it as a person who wants to settle space, because when you get to Mars and the moon, the tunnels are the best way to protect settlements from radiation. So you want to travel as much as possible in tunnels. So this is one of the reasons why Musk has been doing it. He's been wanting to bring Hyperloop to wherever they wanted to try it out and develop it on Earth. And I happen to know that the greatest restriction on Hyperloop technology is politics. It has nothing to do with the technological ability. They have a little tunnel system that they build in Vegas, try it out. So some success, enough to get some data points to kind of build on. They're trying to build a Hyperloop in Abu Dhabi to mixed results. Conceptually, it's not the science that's the problem. It's the political problem, because it takes a lot of space to go 700 to 1,000 miles an hour, and it takes a lot of tube, so you have to have a lot of land dedicated to it to make it happen. That's the big restriction, because there's not a political desire for it to occur, and the Biden administration came along and sort of hijacked all that enthusiasm. So for 4 years, everything's kind of went stale. I would also offer that it's because of that staleness that Elon Musk became much more of a Republican than a Democrat, because he saw it for what it was, and it's really hindering the rate of innovation that we have as a country. And under our President Trump, that's a guy that can get behind Hyperloop. Hyperloop is a solution, a big solution for the future. So I happen to know, had a nice discussion with the senator who covers Monroe, personal friend of mine, and talking about economic viability, and not from him so much, but the buzz is out there that John Houston, who is Lieutenant Governor of Ohio, because we're talking about a Hyperloop, and we're talking about the biggest restriction for Hyperloop is politics. And I know that because I happen to have hired a few Hyperloop engineers that worked for the University of Cincinnati project as they went to SpaceX, because SpaceX had kind of an open sourcing competition to develop Hyperloop in a system they built there to kind of try it out and see how they could work out technical problems. And so I've always been very interested in this kind of thing, and I hired a few engineers, talked to them about what the problems were, and essentially it comes down to political will, not technical innovation. If you get political will behind it, technical innovation can then be resolved. So, talking to this senator about all this stuff, and we were talking about politics and how Ohio's shaping up and how we can make Ohio so much more, the most business-friendly state in the nation, and how we can set an example to the world, because this is where aviation was born. And we talk about 75. You can see 70. You'll see 75 right there. Running right along this way, I-75. This particular corridor, he and I have been talking about making it the aerospace corridor of the world. It already has quite a lot of imprint there, but we want to continue that growth. And with space coming along like it is, there's a lot of opportunities for some of this new economy to emerge along this corridor. Westchester to the south, and Liberty Township to the south, and I-275's down there. A lot of great opportunities for business development, including this lot that I happen to be walking around in. I think it's an ideal lot for great things to happen. But I've been thinking for a long time that if you have a Hyperloop system, which is kind of like a train depot, if you've ever seen how they work in Europe, they the train stations are kind of the centerpiece, and you build the cities around them. There is a plot of property, I don't know who owns it, but there's several plots of property in and around here that are very large, that would accommodate what they would call as a Hyperloop terminal. If you like in northern Kentucky, or no matter where you have an international airport, when they built CVG, the Florence area, southern Cincinnati, the Kentucky side, really grew dramatically, and it brought all kinds of great economic activity to it. So when you start thinking about new modes of transportation emerging, like Hyperloop, and you're going to have a terminal for people to come and get on this Hyperloop and go where they're going to go, Monroe is an ideal space. And it would have to be very big, because Hyperloops come in very fast, and there'd be lots of cars coming and going, and they're very interesting how they would lay out and work, and how convenient they could be for people. But it'd have to be a very large. If you've ever been to Disney World and seen like Space Mountain or looked at the new Tron pavilion they have for the Tron ride. It would be like that, but much larger. And so be very spacey, very technical, very cutting edge, and you can really get anywhere you want in the world with one of these things very quickly. So as I was talking to this to my friend, and we were talking about the politics of Ohio, and things are shaking up in a unique way. John Husted, as of me speaking about this, 2024 Christmas, John Husted and Governor DeWine were called to Mar-a-Lago to kind of get the shakedown from President Trump. That is the future of politics under the Trump administration, and who's going to be the next governor of Ohio. Because that's a thing, and I've talked about how I support David Yost, and but there's a strategy out there, and the word on the ground coming out of Mar-a-Lago is that John Husted is going to take the Senate seat that is being vacated by J.D. Vance. Governor DeWine will appoint Husted to that seat, and that will make him the new senator, which I think is great, because John Husted's been very pro-business. And he's been thinking about running for governor, but that would make it so that he could be a senator, have a respectable position, work with Bernie Moreno as the two senators of Ohio, two very pro-business people who are going to be in the Senate, who are going to be looking to make Ohio very pro-business. So that's apparently what's going on with John Husted, because the news is out there. It's all over the internet right now. What's the mysterious topic? And that's what's coming out of Mar-a-Lago. Trump is wanting to have an influence over who's going to be governor of Ohio. And it looks like it's going to be Vivek Ramaswamy. So Vivek is going to, this is, again, it never happens until it's actually happening, but this is the talk kind of behind the scenes. And I think it's a wonderful opportunity. Great in all fronts. I would like to see Vivek Ramaswamy as the governor of Ohio. A few years of Doge, a few years of working directly with Elon Musk to do just the kind of stuff we're talking about with Hyperloop. There's a new Intel plant being built north of Columbus. There's a lot of good technology coming back into Ohio. And I think a few years of Doge is going to put Vivek Ramaswamy into a prime position to be governor of Ohio and make Ohio the most technological state in the entire country, entire world, I would think. And I think Ohio could give Abu Dhabi and places like that a run for their money as far as technical innovation and state-of-the-art facilities that could be tops. And this is one of the reasons I think Trump is interested in Ohio, because it's the Rust Belt. There's been a lot of jobs lost, trying to bring a lot of jobs back in. And really the way to do it is to create new economies and create new wealth that never was there before. So when you start talking about building Hyperloops from London to New York, for $20 billion, well, that's a lot of money, but it's not a lot of money. And when you start making a tunneling system that can have high-tech, better than high-speed rail systems that start migrating everywhere, for really $100 billion here and $100 billion there, that can be easily generated by an expanding market niche in an economy that's growing, that's doable. That's a very doable thing if you get the political will behind it. So think about Vivek Ramaswamy being governor of Ohio, and then think about J.D. Vance, who happens to be the vice president. And he grew up right over there. His mom lives right over there. And everybody involved in all this stuff wants to see economic viability come to places like Monroe, places like Middletown, that's been gutted to globalism. Hamilton, Ohio, which is right over that way a few miles. Places that used to have great industry that were husked out by globalism. And President Trump wants to make a point of how to bring America back into the fray and create new jobs. You don't necessarily want to strip everybody who's got something good going on around the world. The best way to do it is to make something new and make these places the direct benefactors of it. So, the political elements have lined up in a way that is unique in the world, and I think that would make Monroe, Ohio, right over there behind the outlet malls, which is right there. There's a lot of land. There's an Amazon distribution facility over there. There's a lot of good stuff at this Monroe exit. Prime real estate. But, right now it's between Cincinnati and Dayton, and that's why Middletown, what used to be such a lucrative place, is between those two places. Well, now when you're talking about a hub that has a new transportation system, Hyperloop, for instance, a distribution terminal, it serves Cincinnati and Dayton and Columbus and Indianapolis, because you could drive literally an hour from any of those places and get to the Hyperloop, get on a Hyperloop. You could be pretty much in Los Angeles or New York or even London within a few hours. Because when you're traveling at 1,000 miles an hour, you can be anywhere very quick. Very exciting stuff, and it's very, very possible. And why Monroe? So, as I've been thinking about this thing for years, since I first heard about Elon Musk's concept, you'd want to start off with a few lines. I mean, of course, if they're doing a line from New York to London, you would have a line from Monroe to New York, which is about 500 miles. That means people from Chicago could actually drive here, or from Cleveland or Columbus. Rather than trying to drive all the way to New York, you can come to this Monroe hub, which is just a little bit out of the way, the distance of some airports for people, and you could use it to pretty much get where you wanted. You could have a line that went to New York. You could have a line that goes from Monroe to Los Angeles. You could have a line that goes from Los Angeles to Orlando, Florida, because so many people like to travel south and go vacation in Florida, Disney World specific, but Orlando is centrally located in Florida, so that makes it a primary hub. If you've ever been to the airport in Orlando, it's quite a technical feat. There's a lot of traffic that comes in and out of it. So a hyperspace hub there would make a lot of sense. But making the distribution point here makes a whole lot of sense economically. And then that would allow for a completely new economic renovation to occur up and down this I-75 corridor. All along here, all the way down past Monroe and Franklin, Dayton. It would boost Dayton a lot economically. Then, of course, it would satisfy the business needs of Cincinnati, just to the south. It's the midpoint between those two cities. And again, it only takes about a little over an hour to get to Indianapolis from here, or to Columbus from here. With J.D. Vance being his hometown's right over there, and he's looking for a shot in the arm to restore while he's vice president, probably going to be president. He's the most likely pick to continue on all these projects, because something like this could take 5 to 10 years to develop. But I think you'd see it develop at a rate that we built the highway system in the 50s, in the 40s, 50s, and 60s. You could easily have all these Hyperloop tracks, underground mostly, done in that period of time with what the Boring Company can do with Elon Musk, and Elon Musk's desire to develop the technology to the point where it's going to be usable on Mars by the time they start colonizing, because that's going to happen within about 5 years of right now. So to satisfy one thing, you have to satisfy the other, and to satisfy the first thing, what you need to do is get the politics out of the way so you can do the economic viability and let smart engineers work out all the details that go behind building the Hyperloop. The technology is viable, has challenges, of course, but that's not the problem. The problem is all the permits and all the nonsense that's restricting the technology from being developed. Wherever it's being developed in the world, whether it's Abu Dhabi or Las Vegas or China's working on it. Wherever it's being done, it's not the science of it, it's the politics of it that gets in the way. So with all those elements playing out, I'm pitching out there as part of my open source, let's all throw a few good ideas on the board and see how they stick. I think Monroe, Ohio is the best place in the world for a designation of a Hyperloop terminal, and then you would create economic viability lines like this area to Orlando that people would use robustly and develop trust in the technology. And then from here go to New York, and then from here to go to Los Angeles. And then you start with those kinds of lines. And the Hyperloop terminal will be like a giant rotating, kind of like you're getting on a carousel at an amusement park. And the roller coasters come in, you get on them, they go, just keep looping around. Then you get on one of these high-speed lines, and it runs by artificial intelligence. And you just get on, read your thing, scan your phone for information, do whatever you're going to do. And the Hyperloop system takes care of itself through AI technology. To set that up here as opposed to somewhere else in the country that's not so centrally located, it makes a lot more sense to do it in Monroe for all the reasons I described. And mostly the primary reason isn't just that bringing economic viability back in to an area that was depleted, but also to make Ohio the technical hub of it and the innovator, because this is the birthplace of aviation just up the road, to make this an innovator for space age technology that is going to create new opportunities on a technical line that had not existed before. Ohio should be the place to do that. And if you have a Vivek Ramaswamy as governor, the guy who did a few years with Elon Musk at Doge and helped President Trump do all kinds of great things, and you got a pro-business senators and Bernie Moreno and John Husted, and then you've got J.D. Vance in the White House, and then probably going to do 8 years in the White House because no one's going to want to turn off the Trump economy. So he's should be able to walk right into the White House and get 12 years of this stuff. That's enough time to develop a Hyperloop. That's enough time to build a terminal over there for all the places and destinations I said. And yes, you could do the whole line from New York to, like Elon Musk says, from New York to London for $20 billion. And all that money can be generated for all these lines comparatively, relatively cheaply. And it would change the way we transport ourselves and make us much more efficient and economically viable as a culture. And all this information, and what Elon Musk gets out of all of it, is he gets to develop technology that will then be put on other planets, because that's how you do it. That's how it will go. And you can make that test bed happen right here in Monroe, Ohio. And it's just a matter of time of having the vision to start securing the property and start saying, hey guys, this is what we'd like to do here. Make this your test bed for making it happen. And then get the political barriers out of the way so that it can occur, and you can put the smart people, give them autonomy to go develop the technology. And that is what we can do today to make tomorrow happen. Now, for all those who have listened to me talk for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, just have to remind you, how many times have I been wrong about something? And how many times have people pinched themselves and said, boy, I should have listened to Rich Hoffman. Well, Rich Hoffman's right about most things, and I am. And I'm not saying that to be haughty. I'm saying that to say, listen to what I'm telling you. There's an opportunity here, a great opportunity. And I'm saying it not to my usual audience, but to the people that I happen to know who can make these kinds of things happen. If you're looking on how to take all the elements that are on the chessboard right now and turn them into something great for the human race, then let's do it. Make it happen. Because it's just so happens that the likely future governor of Ohio happens to be very good friends and is working with Elon Musk directly. And Elon Musk has a need. He has all the money in the world, but what he doesn't have is political will to back up all his wild inventions. And if you could turn him loose the way that we turned Edison loose in the past and other great inventors, we can do things that have never been thought of. Those things that are on the books that no one's even conceived yet, that can then come about in fantastic ways. What needs to happen is political will to get behind the innovation. The money isn't so hard to come up with. The money gets generated out of new economic empowerment a Trump economy, and where that most grows will determine the fate of the human race. And I would say that Monroe, Ohio is as good as any place in the world right now for that display of America's back, America's great again, and these are the political minds that this is all from their backyard. Vivek Ramaswamy's from around here. This is the best place to exhibit that great opportunity. And I think it would be a wonderful chance for a lot of good things to happen in politics when otherwise the political theater tends to get a bad name because a lot of bad people typically do bad things in it. This is a chance to do actually good things and to do things that history would remember everybody for, if only we could pull it together and make it happen. But I think the best, I've been all over the United States, and I can't think of a better area to develop a Hyperloop terminal than right over there, right about where that sun is coming up. A big, vast area of land. I know it's a farmland right now, and I don't know if the people who own it would be willing to sell it probably at some point in time, but now's the time to start making the deals, because the political powers that are aligning to make it happen are stacking up in a way that is unique in history and unique anywhere in the world, let alone Butler County, Ohio, or Ohio in general. A Hyperloop terminal right over there. A great idea. And don't say 10 years from now when people are like, we should have done that. Don't be that person that said we should have listened when Rich Hoffman brought that up. I would say let's talk about it now. Let's make it happen so we don't have to do the I wish I did it later. Now's the time to do it. Anyway, it's Rich Hoffman here. Share, subscribe, make tomorrow a better day. If you haven't read my book, The Gunfighter's Guide to Business, I think you'll love it. And remember, Hyperloop, Hyperloop, Hyperloop. It's been around for a while. I've been looking for an opportunity. The very first thing I thought of when Trump got elected was maybe we can make Hyperloop happen. Because I think President Trump will get behind Hyperloop in a big way, because it solves a lot of problems for the kind of economy he wants to get behind. And history will remember it as one of the great things the human race ever did. So I think you got a friendly president, and you got a lot of friendly people up and down the line who can make this go, and we should do it. Anyway, have a good day. See you later.